Namaskaram, everyone. So recently, one of the Anna actually asked me a question. Before we go on to discuss, uh, I want to give a little bit of a disclaimer. You should not treat this video as any instruction or anything uh, for the replacement of your sadhana, or like I'm not here to guide you anything. This is just like I'm sharing my own experiences and I'm sharing my understanding so that it can be helpful for other sadhakas also. So that is the only reason like I'm making these videos. So here is one Anna who actually asked me that it was a follow up to one of the video which I actually made that regarding why everyday sadhana when Sadhguru can enlighten us in a moment. So the Anna asked me that so Anna, everyday sadhana is enough or it depends on the intensity of the sadhana. So this question is not very clear, like what the Anna is asking, but as far as it is concerned, like Sadhguru mentions that how you do is actually more important than what you do. Little bit of intensity is always required, but at the same time, like the sense of offering is also required. Possibly, like the practice related questions can be answered by the Ishangas and everything. I will not delve into that. This one, this is what like a Sadhguru mentions in the videos and everything. So that is the one thing, and another thing is like the consistency is a key, just like Sadhguru mentions that we should not focus on the fruit because fruit is a consequence, and if you take care of the roots, uh, the fruit will come automatically. He gave the example of the mango tree and so on. So just by thinking about the mango or discussing, like it will not come out. Rather, you need to work on the roots so that like eventually uh, it will come out. The fruits will come up. And another thing is why the consistent sadhana is necessary is just like Sadhguru gave this example of just like we take a shower every day, brush our teeth and everything, just like we do the external cleansing of our body, the internal cleansing is also required in our like energy system and everything. So because of that reason, the daily sadhana is required, so that in one of the book he has actually mentioned that the sadhana actually creates two aspect. One thing is like it creates a distance between the mind and body, and another aspect is now the karmic glue has become like a little bit uh, non-sticky, little bit like it still sticks, but like it's not like a super glue. It has become like a little bit uh, you know fluid, so that whenever you want it you can use it, whenever you don't want you can use it. For example, when you go into different states of meditation and everything, your mind and body is a little bit away, but when you come out of the meditation and then you need to go back into the daily life, all kind of conversation at the time, like you still have to use your mind and body. So that was it. And then so in terms of the intensity is very very important, because what can be done in a few days, if you are intense enough you can do in like a one day, and whatever you can do in one day can might be able to be done uh, within hours, based on the type of the activity and so on. And it is actually true for this one also. And but there are certain practices and everything, which needs to be sustained regularly, because as we go through life, we actually get weared off by the different kind of things. For example, like the body wears off, but it is continuously being regenerated, the cells, similar to that one. We get like a develop certain kind of friction, and the sadhana is basically to create uh, you know reduce the friction as much as possible, and that is possible only through sadhana. And I actually asked the follow-up question. So he said that like one more thing, my compulsions got multiplied. Not sure why. The Anna is actually the regular Isha meditator. and he said that my compulsions got multiplied and not sure why. When I compare last year with this year has been worse on food, thoughts, etc, becoming too compulsive. And he also said, is it some way of finishing up my unfinished karma, or just naturally I became compulsive? Based on my understanding through spiritual practices, and even I also went through the same phases and everything, because to come to a certain kind of balance and understanding of what things is, you have to go through that one. Uh, so uh, if you want to know that the existence, the life, the body we are holding on, the basis of it is compulsion itself. Compulsion basically means like it's cyclical, and whatever has happened, it is bound to happen again. And that is how like we are alive also. If there was no compulsion, we would not be going to the bed, waking up, sleeping, eating, and everything. These are all like a compulsive in nature. But how much compulsion you need? Because like when you come to the realization that like we're trapped in the body, this is like most of the people don't actually understand. They think that like they are the body themselves. But once you realize that like you are trapped in the body now, how much priority you want to give to the process of your body, and how much you want to give towards the liberation or the experiential part of your life. So this matters a lot. So there will be like a certain part of compulsion will always be there. Without that, you can hold the body, just like Sadhguru says that people who have already experienced like a nirvikalpa samadhi, and like they are on the verge of mahasamadhi, they have to hold on to certain things. For example, in case of Sadhguru, like he has taken these massive projects, which may not be may not be, but like it's very difficult to be completed in a single lifetime. That kind of projects he's handling. And there was a story what Sadhguru mentioned was regarding the Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, who actually created the conscious karma regarding his food, and that's how like he was holding on to his body. So apart from that one, like compulsiveness and karma is there, but now if it becomes a hindrance and then you are unable to go where you want it, then it becomes very difficult. And this is where we need to take actions on that one. And the karma can be of many reasons why it is actually happening. One of the thing is your past karma, which you have already you know created it, and now like you are getting the fruits of those karma, and you cannot avoid it. You cannot avoid that kind of karma. But like there is a kind of a karma like that is going to the ones that is going to you are going to create because of your own awareness and everything. These can be avoided through like a conscious action in very high degree. And there is a part of which is known as the sanchita karma. If you go through the karma book or mystic musing and something like that, even if you go to Isha website, you can learn a lot about uh, different types of karma. And so basically like the prarabdha, like and some of the karma even which you have created in unawareness or because of the compulsions and everything, some of them like you cannot avoid it. And that is where like the sadhana comes into the play, and the sadhana is going to handle them nicely, so that like it is not going to have large footprint on you. At least like you are in awareness that like you are stuck and you are trying to figure it out to get out of it. And now how to go about it now, like you are trapped, like there's a deluge of compulsions and like it is happening. So what is going to happen is like sadhana is very important aspect of it, but we also need to understand that we created the body itself, but at the same time like the materials of the body is not ours. It's not ours actually. Like a part of it, majority of it actually comes from the earth in the form of food, but like the intelligence to form the physical body, like for example like yeah, somebody looks like Indian, somebody looks like American, somebody looks like European, somebody looks like African, somebody looks like European. Only reason is because they also inherit this genetic memory from their ancestors and parents. Because of that reason, just like you uh, get this appearance through genetic memory, you also get the memory of your parents and forefathers and everyone. For example, like in my case, my parents always used to say that like walk I walk like my mother's father, the grandfather from my mother's side. So a part of him is also like living through me, and like there can be like a lot of things like we may not be aware of. We are like influenced by many things. There is like the collective karma also, like the kind of society you are living in, and that is where like it's very important. That's why like when Buddha started the spiritual process, he said that only three things are very important. They are the Buddha, Dhamma, and then the Sangha. Buddha means the teacher, and Dhamma basically means the teaching or the practices, and then the Sangha is the practicing community. And that is where like the volunteering activities, and then like ashram, and then all this kind of task is like a very important, because where you actually sit, stay, and everything, that is going to impact you a lot initially, like when you are a beginner. Once you have established, uh, there's not much of an issue. For example, when I was also starting out, there were a lot of compulsions and a lot of stuff, but now like it has gone like very minimal down. Yeah, that's there's not much of a like effort to be done. Like there is a lot of clarity and everything. Why it is so is because, see, like when there is a sapling, let's say like there's a sapling is like a very vulnerable. uh, it has to be cultivated, it has to be protected, nurtured, and everything. But once it becomes a full-fledged tree, it can actually like provide the preservation. It is like self-sustainable, and most of the time self-sustainable. And because of that reason, like when you are just like starting out, you have to work a lot on that one until like it establishes. So this is the reason, like when somebody came to Buddha and then asked, the Gautama the Buddha, and asked that like why you created a sangha, why you created a community, why there can be like a a lone wolf kind of like meditators or a monk, like who can like just live alone and then do their sadhana. And what Buddha actually gave a very beautiful answer is, he said, uh, a lone meditator is like a person like who has gone, is like a tiger who has gone to the city. So tell me, like, what is going to happen to the tiger who has entered the city or a town? So basically, like, if a tiger enters the town, eventually, like, people will get scared and everything. But like, they cannot stay inside the room for a long time. So what they do it is like they are trying to catch it. And at the time of the Buddha, like, since like there were no tranquilizers, so people would like eventually kill the tiger. So he said that sadhaka, like who lives in the materialistic world, possibly like in a group of people like who are highly materialistic, and the scenario where you are living, uh, eventually like slowly, the collective karma is going to influence you, and then you might lose track of where you want to go. So this is very important, that you have a clarity first of all, like what you want to have in life. uh, so if you have seen enough of your life that like you are not going anywhere through physical actions and everything, yeah, like you have to have a social life. You need to have foundation, so that like you can make a living and support the volunteering and everything also. But at the same time, yeah, you need to be clear about like what's your priority in your life, and it is very important. So like now, like I've already given you the reasons, like what can be like a lot of causes. One is the collective karma. Another thing is the karma like that was handed over by the earth, because like the earth has got like a certain tendencies of tamas into it. It wants to go back to the earth again. What we are referring to like a consciousness and everything, that is a sattva, which is free of the tamas, but still not transcendence. So, and then the third part, what we discuss is basically like the society as a whole also. So these are the things, like one of the things. And another thing is like if you want to break out of this cycle, like Sadhguru mentioned that if in the past, the events that could happen in a person's life may not be that much in most of the people, at least in most of the people. Only for a few people, it was tumultuous, like things are going on actively. But in 21st century, life is very fast. You are moving from one geographic location to another, one society to another, and all kind of people. So once you are meeting with all kind of people, uh, it's bound to be affected unless you are not taking care of yourself properly. So sadhana is must, but at the same time, food is also very very important initially. And if you want to increase your energy, or just you need to continue on, in the yogic diet. Why it is so is because once you eat food and everything, what actually happens is all kind of tamasic food and everything, it dulls your senses. It dulls your senses. For example, if you are eating spicy food for a long time, if you take a little bit of spicy food, you cannot taste it. So you need more taste. So that way, you are done, you need to purify our senses. That is one part of it. And another thing is like a mandala. Just we have the mandala for spiritual practices, we need to have mandala for our activities also, which you think are compulsive in nature. For example, traditionally, it's 40 to 48 days. That is just to have a glimpse of what is possible through spiritual practices and everything. But if you want to go further and everything, Sadhguru mentions that if you do for 1008 days sadhana every day, you are going to look like a superhuman to most other people. And it is a real possibility that, like I mentioned you, in a physicality, the compulsiveness is always there. But he said that through practices like surya kriya and spiritual practices, you can actually extend that compulsive cycle to 12 years. So that is the longest period, what Sadhguru has mentioned we can achieve. But we can transcend that one also. For a yogi, we have actually tested the beyond. There's no tomorrow, now, tomorrow, and yesterday and everything. So there's no concept of now also. Now is also just a word. So it just is. And in that case, the karma is taking place. The karma is going to come and go. It cannot touch you. Some of the things what you have done in the past, the fruits will be there. But once you have inner engineered yourself, like you can see in the t-shirt, if you have inner engineered yourself, these things is not going to scratch you. And you can see on the background, a Sadhguru is there, the living proof. And there are many many volunteers, Shisha meditators and everything, who have been able to achieve this. So if you think, so there are only two ways you can do it. One thing is controlling the environment. One thing is that. Another thing is you intensify your sadhana. And the third thing is the very very important thing is you need to be clear about what your priorities are. Because when you are clear about your priorities, all the actions will follow that. For example, if you are still confused that, okay, this is also important, this is also important, it doesn't work that way. Because you will be divided. And once you are divided, your energies are divided. And whatever you do, it's whatever is done half-heartedly is not going to take you very far. So I think I answered your question.